Hey,
And
everyone.
we're live.
Well, there you go. Great. Hey, everyone, and welcome
Hey,
back.
hey.
This is our third live stream, correct?
Yeah, and the first official one that we're streaming. But I guess if people want that, we can also put the others online. Right now they're still private, yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
We've got a packed show for you guys today with some really
yeah.
exciting topics to dive into. So I
Hmm.
would say whether you're tuning in live or catching the replay, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Today, yeah, thank you. Today we're going to start off with a deep dive into Sinners. Yeah.
Exactly.
Followed by some fresh movie news, including a new John Wick film and
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith making headlines again after
Yeah,
2 decades.
exactly.
Plus,
It's
what
crazy.
day is today, Jay?
It's May the 4th be with you to everybody who's joined the religion of Jedi or Sith or whatever religion in the Star Wars universe you belong to, because there's more, and we got the news of that since the Acolyte, which I've covered. Yeah, yeah. May the 4th be with you to all of you, and also to the ones who are still new to the franchise. I welcome you. It's always good to have new fans as long as you still love the original movies. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
Hey,
But yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, so we'll be sharing both a longtime fan's take,
yeah,
and a fresh perspective from someone newer to the franchise.
exactly.
I have not gotten into it too deep. I actually
Yeah,
had to look up what it actually meant, for those
yeah,
that are not new to the franchise. Franchise, why is May 4th Star Wars Day,
yeah,
and it was
yeah,
actually created by fans as a sly nod to one of the film's most popular catchphrases, which you guys heard Jay say, "May the
yeah,
Force be with you." Get it? So
yeah,
good. Now May the 4th be with you too. So
yeah. It's really
quite
clever. It's really
interesting.
clever.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very clever. I mean,
A-
unbelievable.
and
That's
also
that's
like
interesting.
most of the films, to my knowledge, most of the films were also released during May. Yeah. I
Hmm.
remember like I was, oh my god, I must have been not even 12 when Revenge of the Sith was released, and I was so pumped.
Hmm.
Oh my god, I was so pumped. I got the novel, which back then had all the spoilers in it, and I saw the first screen caps of the movie, and I was so shocked. I was like, oh my god, what are they doing to my boy Anakin? Oh my god, it was so crazy because that like today would be sacrilegious. You couldn't put the novel out first and have like screen caps in it showing you what happens in the movie. Like people would go nuts. Like, how can you do this? How can you put spoilers in it? But yeah, let's introduce ourselves first, maybe, because like yeah, they haven't seen the other streams, and yeah, if there's demand for that, I'll be sure to put them online and make them actually available to the public. But then, like, yeah, I'm Cranky, your boy, screaming and always complaining about movies, or actually sometimes loving them, which doesn't happen a lot. And of course,
Right.
this is Angel from your podcast, from what's called Intimate
Intimate
Moments.
moments.
Yeah,
Correct.
and yeah, we're gonna go deep into movie lore, movie news, what we liked about it. We're both cinephiles. Um, we're hanging around movies all day long. That's what happens. And yeah, we're gonna bring you this live stream today. And let's go first with Sinners, huh?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what did
So
you think about the
yeah.
movie?
So yeah, let's talk about Sinners. I have to say this movie was great. It really, really caught
Yeah,
me off guard in the best way.
mm,
What stood out the most to me was the spiritual depth.
yeah,
It wasn't preachy, but it had this powerful, uniquely underlying message that made me think about
mm,
guilt, or redemption, forgiveness,
yeah,
um, and what it really means to carry the weight of your actions. You know,
exactly.
um, yeah, it felt like a modern day parable. Like every character seemed to
Hmm.
represent a different kind of sin or in a conflict, but it wasn't black and
I didn't
white.
think of it like
Like,
that.
yeah, the movie shows how
Sinners,
complicated
of course.
morality is. Yeah, it's not just about good versus evil. It's more about like personal struggle, forgiveness, and finding some
Yeah.
kind of grace even when you've messed up. From a filmmaking standpoint, the pacing was very solid. The
Mm,
pacing was incredible. It never
mhm.
felt rushed, but it also didn't drag. Like every scene had a purpose, and detention kept building in a way that pulled me in deeper and deeper. Yeah, that was my first impression of it, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. How about you?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for how a movie looks, really. I'm a very visual guy, and I
Hmm.
just love the cinematography and the colors. It was crazy, and
Hmm.
you could the first when I saw it, the trailer, I thought like am I getting this the wrong way? Did they put some filter on it? Because you can also do that, of course. But
Hmm.
is it shot on film? And I
Hmm.
always look at that because we have a movie right around the corner, a movie theater right around the corner, which still plays on actual 35 millimeter film, sometimes on 70 millimeter, and it's
Hmm.
just it's different. It's different. It's not the same. Like you can watch it on digital. It can look great, but there's something about it. It's an event if you watch that. And
Hmm.
then I looked it up on IMDb, and they said that it was shot on 70 millimeter IMAX, and I was like, oh my god, of course, it
Hmm.
looks gorgeous, and that's what I loved about it. It's just so different from the slop that you get nowadays. This grayish, totally bland and boring picture, and it's just great. That how the colors pop, but not in a way that it's looks like the demos that they show on the TV on the media stores.
Hmm.
When you go into those department stores at the TV section and you look at them and they
Yeah,
show
it's
those
very
animal
overwhelming.
documentaries. Yeah, it's very
Hmm.
overwhelming. It's almost like more than life. No, it's just rich, the richness, the contrast. It's awesome. And I love that about it because I'm also a huge sucker for Tarantino for his
Hmm.
movies, and they just look so good. The film, it's awesome. Yeah, and then the characters. I like the characters. I actually it mattered to me what happened to Smoke and Stack. I was involved with their
Hmm.
story. They had something about them that I wanted to know, okay, how are they doing? Are they actually gonna be able to pull it off because it's the South, of course, and there's a lot of racism going on, the
Hmm.
KKK and just this segregation. Uh and yeah, I was totally invested in what they were doing, and yeah, the story wise, I thought it was really good. It reminded me a lot of From Dusk Till Dawn, which I also said in my
Hmm.
review. But then again, like it's very different from that. The yeah, parts of the plot are similar to From Dusk Till Dawn. The stories, yeah, it's different. It's like you say in the interview, same but different. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Also, great movie by the way, but like largely different than Sinners. Yeah, it's I don't know. But then like I didn't like the ending. The ending, and then that's after the credits, the post credit scene. It kind of
Hmm.
ruined it for me. It's
Hmm. Why is that?
I was in the theater. I was like, oh my god, why did they do that? Why did they do that?
Hmm.
I did. It's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. And if you can look over that, just like I said in the review, it's still great. But oh, why couldn't they just leave that out? Like they're all now. There's spoilers. Sorry. Like there's or let's actually not talk about the spoilers. Maybe I can try to move around it. There's a scene, and it depicts that the vampires, and of course you know that there are vampires in the movie, that they can actually show mercy, and over
Hmm.
all the movie they didn't. They were just relentless.
Hmm.
And there was also like a scene between family where they definitely should have showed mercy, the vampires, but they
Hmm.
didn't, and now all of a sudden they did, and that kind of that took me out. And maybe that's the scene with all the spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what kept bothering me. But then again, like, it's still a great movie, and out of all those that I've seen this year, it's definitely the best so far.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
What you
top
thought
contender.
about the
Hmm?
mm-hmm. What did you thought about the main character, Sammy? Um, because he was stuck
Yeah,
between two worlds, you know, his
yeah,
father's expectations as a preacher and his own calling as a
yeah,
musician. But his music isn't just art, it becomes a spiritual force. It's like he's channeling something bigger, something more ancient. And
yeah.
I think that me personally, the way the film showed that, how the music connects him to his ancestors, to something divine, it was very, very powerful.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Of course, and it absolutely makes sense. I mean, it's like they say in the Bible, don't take everything literally. Of course, like with us, vampires, dark spirits, they won't show up. But it
Hmm.
music can change lives. Music
Hmm.
can influence culture. It can do
Hmm.
that, and it's not to be taken too literally. It
Hmm.
can do things, and they showed it with blues, and everybody that I've talked to, everybody I've seen online, they were all just blown away by the music. It's
The
just
music
great,
was incredible. Yep.
and Sammy, of course, the he kept on playing. The only thing
Mhm.
that I was shocked about actually was that when he plays that guitar when he's singing, is
Mhm.
he he summoned the spirits that
Yeah.
night,
In
and
some
then when
way,
he
yeah.
kept
In some,
on playing, didn't he do that? So can he
yeah.
choose to do that?
Ooh, that's a very interesting question
Yeah,
because um, I think that how to say it, it
is
was
there like a switch?
yeah, spirituality, especially when it comes to you know um, African ancient traditions and so
Yeah,
forth. Um, it's not as a good versus evil, but as it's very complex, and
yeah,
sometimes it can be even uncomfortable on how they portray that spirituality,
yeah.
and to me that really stood out to me,
Mm,
um so it really also let you know how powerful your gifts can be as a
yeah.
musician, and so in some way, shape, or form, I agree, yes, he did summon some of those spirits for sure. And
Hmm.
I think that is exactly why, when you look into the history, especially with the blues, and this is
Yeah.
something that I looked up, looked up at. I was listening to a podcast a while ago, and back then the preachers, you know, they didn't make any money in church.
Oh.
They really didn't make any money in church, exactly because what would happen is you would have people meet up at these jukeboxes the night before, and they dance and they party and they drinking basically, all their money away. So when they come on that
Oh.
Sunday morning now to church, there is no money to give to the church.
Yeah.
And so pastors back then, they would demonize blues, as devil music. It would be
Whoa.
something. Yeah, it was a thing back then where they would say, hey, blues is music of the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of these. Yeah, it was a huge thing.
Funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's you know, I was very surprised about that. I didn't know
Me
that,
too.
until I did a little bit of research, and I was like, wait a minute, So it was a thing that back in the days where these ministers and preachers, they would basically say, because you got to think about it, these musicians, they would start making more money on the road making music than actually making music for a choir at church. You understand what I'm
Of
saying?
course. Yeah, yeah, that makes perfect sense in
Yeah,
context of the
and
movie. Yeah.
after slaving for weeks, picking cotton, for days picking cotton, you
Yeah.
just want to chill, relax, and dance a little bit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so let's meet at the juke. and let's drink and have a good time. But then the next day when
Yeah.
church is there was no money to give to the churches, so it was something that was really villainized and demonized back then when it came to the blues. But even traditionally, if you think about it, even when you look at um religions like voodoo and so forth, music plays a very big intricate part in
Yeah.
those ceremonies that they have um in various cultures, where they are calling on certain spirits with the music, because the music basically moves, it moves them. And
Yeah.
it was very beautiful in how they have depict that in the movie, and how you could tell, like, there was one particular scene, spoiler alert, there was one particular scene where they were in the juke, and he was playing music and he was singing, and then you could see how the music had shifted from generations to generations, how it
Yeah.
transcended, how the music transcended, from hip hop, to even Asian culture, and to even people breakdancing and early hip hop and jazz and blues. And it was almost like a time stamp, going through
Yeah.
different time
Yeah. Yeah.
stages. I thought that was really beautifully done. And so I
Really?
think at that moment, it was,
I
I thought it was done really beautifully. Go ahead.
I thought with the ancestors, it made perfect sense. But then like
Yes.
when they got the DJs in, and like I said, like I got no problem with DJs. I like hip hop too. But
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
were
of
in
course.
like with the with the long t-shirts and the baggy pants, I was like,
Hmm.
oh,
Yeah,
that doesn't fit
but
in at
but
all.
yeah, true, true. But it was beautiful to see because if you think about it, the message really was where it started and where it has
Yeah.
been going, and how
Yeah, absolutely. That
big
makes
of an
sense. Yeah.
influence, yeah, and how big of an influence music actually is. Because if you think
Yeah.
about it, it brings people together. Music
It
literally
does.
brings people together,
Absolutely.
and that's what it kind of like portrayed to me. Um, the music in the film to me was 10 out of 10. And and
Yeah.
and let's
Same.
be clear. Yeah, and let's just be clear that when the movie first premiered, it achieved a perfect 100 score on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's still holding strong with about 98% critic score
What
and a
that's
97 audience score. That's
Whoa,
no
okay,
small feat,
that's
bro.
mm. That's awesome because normally with a lot of movies they got like 100% critic score, but then there's
Mm-hmm.
like 60, 50 audience score, and then you know
Yeah.
that something's fishy.
Mm-hmm.
Know that
Yeah.
it can't
And
be right. It's got to be paid for.
mm-hmm. It's got to be paid for, yeah.
But
But
that one
even
isn't.
if you look, yeah, no, that one isn't. If you look at the reviews, it's very authentic. I mean,
Yeah,
it's incredible. A lot of people went to see a movie because you also got to think about the director behind it.
yeah.
Um, I
Ryan
forgot
Coogler,
calling it. Yeah, Frank Cougar. Yeah,
Coogler.
he
Yeah,
invested. Yeah, so he invested. I think $20 million of his own pockets into the movie. I think in
whoa,
total the budget was about like 100 million. And I think they
yeah,
did it, yeah, close to with like $100 million. Yeah, about um, but this movie was, to me, having a Haitian Dominican background, it
mm,
was really a profound exploration of spirituality, identity, and redemption, for sure, for sure. And
yeah.
Michael
That
B.
makes sense.
Jordan, big ups to him. He did incredible. He did incredible. He did really incredible. Also,
Already made back its budget. It's at
yeah,
207 right now worldwide.
really,
Yeah, 207
wow,
million. And that's an
wow.
R-rated movie, right? Yeah. But
Yeah, I think
I
the movie was 100. Right?
Yeah, let me check what the budget was. But domestic. Let me get that real quick. Budget. And 90 million. Roughly 90
90
million.
million.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, but that
wow.
totally deserved. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
If you
Let
can
me,
get
let
over
me,
that
let
stuff,
me.
which is minor, it's great. Yeah.
Right. Let me ask you about Miles Caton,
Mm,
because
Sammy.
he's a newcomer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce it wrong?
No, 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 no. The character Sammy. Yeah, and Miles Caton
Yeah,
is
Sammy,
is
correct.
the actor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That kid, man. That
It's
newcomer,
his first. Yeah, it's new.
yep.
Definitely, it's his
Dude's a
first
star.
movie, I guess.
Dude's a star. You
Yeah,
could
he is.
feel his whole inner conflict without even saying much. That's talent.
Yeah,
That's talent. That's
yeah,
talent.
definitely, definitely. He's
And
got a great career. Have him. Just stay clear of anything related to Disney.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And remember that
They'll ruin it.
remember that there was one wide angle shot there was one wide angle shot where I think it was Stack. He went to the graveyard. That's where at
Yeah.
first when I looked at it, and he was grieving. I thought maybe that was his dad he was grieving from, but then that was a
Right.
whole nother twist to it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like a complete whole. I mean, that angle shot, that white man, that was amazing. That shot right there,
The
that was amazing. They did
cinematography is
really great.
I loved it. It was
Hmm.
so beautiful. That's how every movie is supposed to look like. I know it's impossible, but if it were up to me, it would all go back to film, or at least look like film. Have the
Yeah, for
camera set
sure.
up that it looks like that. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I think the guy
Nice.
name is Autumn. I'm not too sure. Autumn, the guy that did the cinematography.
It's
Autumn. I'm not sure, but he shot the
IMDb
hell out of this movie.
Sinners. Yeah, it's, it just looks awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and the
It's all the way
score was
down
amazing, man.
there. Crazy credits, release date.
The
Technical.
music was alive. It felt ancestral. I
Yeah,
loved it. I loved it.
it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know
Mm,
what? Like,
yeah,
I love the
Autumn
horror
Thorold
as
Arkapaw.
Autumn,
I hope I
right? Is that
pronounced
a
it
woman?
correctly.
Is that a woman?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's a woman,
It's a
actually.
woman. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a woman. Yeah. Yo, the way that she used the light and shadow, it
Yeah.
made the movie feel real intimate
Hmm.
and really epic at the same time, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it was off the chain. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
It
man,
was super
yeah, and
great.
like horror movies nowadays, they really not all that. Like a lot of times you cannot
Oh.
exactly expect like what's gonna happen. Like, oh, this is what's gonna happen. I was sitting there and what I was watching a movie. I did not know what was gonna happen next. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it was wild. You know, and
Definitely.
as a for it to be a horror movie, but it
Mm,
also was about healing. About like reconnecting with your roots and
absolutely.
yeah, facing
But
down
it was.
generational demons. It was literally metaphoric if you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
10 out of 10 for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd give it a 9. 9 out of 10.
What is missing for you to give it a
Just
complete 10?
it's not something that's missing. It's just something that they added. If they were to cut that out, I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Which was
Yeah, it was
the
the
ending.
ending scene, which I don't want to ruin it. I have it in my review, so if you haven't checked that out, do that. It's the I'm talking about it in there all in detail. It's just
Hmm.
if they left that out, and maybe I'm wrong about the hip hop stuff. It just took me out, but
Hmm.
talking about it with you, it actually, yeah, it makes sense, especially now that they demonized the blues back then, the pastors. Now it makes
Yeah.
sense because, of course, rap's also demonized. So it
Yeah.
absolutely makes sense that they would add that in there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I think it's just great. They should keep on going and keep on making movies like this one. But
Hmm.
well, it's Star
Well,
Wars Day.
true. One last
Yeah,
thing. If you have not seen Sinners yet,
yeah.
you sleeping because it's not just a film, it's really an experience. And I wouldn't be
That it is.
surprised if we see this one sweep during award season. Like,
Yeah, it
I
should
would
be
not be
definitely,
surprised,
definitely,
especially the
especially and
music.
the music should get one and
Yep,
should get an award and also think a Michael B. Jordan for
Jordan.
portraying
Yeah.
the twins because it was so seamless. It was
Hmm.
so seamless, and they also had unique characters, which is sometimes I know Tom Hardy did it, and I guess there's a lot more, but it's just Tom Hardy that I know of who did it so seamlessly. And it's
Hmm.
it's just I think that Michael B. Jordan is really overlooked when it comes to that.
Hmm.
He did a great job with the movie, and he showed anger, he showed all those emotions, but you could also relate to him. It was just great. So yeah, there's my 2 cents on that.
Okay,
Now,
cool. So it's May the 4th, aka
exactly.
Star Wars Day. And I gotta admit something. I've never watched Star Wars before. Like, not even one full
Yeah,
movie. I know that probably sounds right to a lot of people, but hey, we all start somewhere, right?
and you know what?
So,
You know what? That's actually not a bad thing, because at first when we were hanging out yesterday. Our audience doesn't know that, and I was like, "Hey, Angel, hey, tomorrow is Star Wars Day, and let's talk about Star Wars then." And you were like, I haven't seen a single one. I was like, oh, but then I was like, you know what? We could do something, and I'm sure it's not unique, but then again, I think we got a little bit to offer.
yeah, I mean,
How about we watch it together,
that sounds
and we're
great.
having
I
a
know,
live,
yeah, we could do that. That's a great idea.
yeah, and we can talk about it while you're watching it.
Yeah,
Have that
we could do that.
that authentic reaction first time watching. And you know what? I would give a lot. I would give a lot to unsee it and watch it for the first time again, because it's also an
Wow.
experience. That
Wow. I mean,
that one,
uh,
1977,
okay, we starting with
is
the
life
original
changing.
ones.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
start with the
we
original
absolutely
ones.
should.
Okay.
I could
I
even
mean, I
go
know
to
the
yeah,
names.
yeah,
Luke, Darth Vader, and
yeah,
Yoda, and I've seen the memes. We all seen the memes.
yeah. There's
I know May the
especially
Fourth
from the
be with you
prequels.
and all that. Yeah, but as far as actually watching the movies and understanding the story, I'm going in completely blind, and honestly, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah. So from the outside, that's what I wanted to ask you. From the outside in, what do you think Star Wars fandom is right now?
Ooh.
What have
Hi, hi,
you
hi.
seen? What have you heard from people? Because I know you're also around other cinephiles, movie fans, people.
Mm-hmm.
What have you heard?
Um, well, I know that it is the first movie in the chronological story timeline.
Mhm.
Um,
And
and it's
not about
basic
the first movie. I meant the franchise itself, the IP.
the franchise. I think
Mm,
it's very impressive. The franchise is very impressive. It has been holding strong for many, many, many years. All over
yeah,
the world, you have Star Wars fans. I mean, it
yeah,
goes as far as even having like festivals and
yeah,
events. I mean,
yeah.
you have collectors, that collect Star Wars. So it's very profound to know that and to see that these people are very like very passionate
It's
about
like a
this. And I
religion.
have not, yeah, it is like a religion. It's almost like a
Yeah.
cult. But
Yeah,
I
it
have
is.
yeah, it is. It's like almost like a cult, but it's quite, to me, it's
But in a
impressive,
good way. Yeah.
yeah, it's very impressive, and it seems as if it's from when I was younger. My dad had
Yeah.
all Star Wars back in the days as videotapes. Back when you had to put in
Yeah.
the VS the videotapes, and then he
Yeah.
had all of the collections of Star Wars. Back then I used to always see it, the boxes with the tapes in it, but never watched it myself. But it's almost like it's almost like for some people childhood. It's part of their childhood
Yeah.
memory, and
Yeah.
like I said, it goes really in depth. It's quite impressive. And I have never seen another franchise like this that I can honestly say where people have been following for so many years. I know that there was one
Mm.
Star Wars that was released a couple of years ago, and a lot of people were actually quite disappointed by the
Yeah.
new
Yeah,
version.
those are the
I'm not too
sequels.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sequels, and maybe you can give us a little bit more insight about that. Why do you think that is?
Well, the thing is, Disney bought it in 2012, and they had big ideas. There was a lot um, of people looking forward to those movies. They were really happy that they didn't end with Episode 3, which was released in 2005. And they were looking forward to those new movies, and they were like, you know what, we're gonna continue from 6 on. We're gonna do 7, 8, and 9 with the
Hmm.
original actors. We're gonna get the original actors. Not only did they
Really?
get the original actors, they got the director, No, that's not the director. They got the writer for episode 5
Mm-hmm.
for The Empire Strikes Back, which is considered among fans to be the best one. And there was
Mm-hmm.
so much hype going on. And turns out three very controversial movies later
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't have an outliner for those movies. So they were just, um, you know, making it up on the go. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what the movies were like. There was so much conflict in there, conflicting scenes, not matching with each other, movies that seemed like, one movie wanted to retcon the other.
Mm-hmm.
Among a lot of stuff. I mean, like, we could talk like hours about this because I've been talking about this topic for forever since 2015 when they came out. It's really controversial. There's people who like it, but there's also a lot of people who absolutely hate those movies. And if they had the chance to burn every copy of it down, they would take it.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of hatred going on, and I myself, I'm not a fan of it. Um, but then again, like I think it's just goes too far to attack the actors because mostly, if you
Mm-hmm.
know it, like actors, they're just workers. They take the job, but then again, like of course they can refuse it. But are you gonna refuse such a career opportunity? You're not. You're not gonna refuse
Mm-hmm.
a job like that. It's just millions, and of course, you're being a part of Star Wars. Okay, you can meet the heroes, you can meet the actors, which actually made it to such a success.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not gonna pass up on such an opportunity. It's just when people say, they the movies they're shit and they shouldn't have taken the job. Are you gonna pass up the opportunity to be in a Star Wars movie? Of course not. Of course not.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't. But then again, like I think that Disney has a lot to do with why the franchise is going that way, and I also think social media. You can hear
Mm-hmm.
everybody's opinion nowadays. You can hear everybody's
Yeah.
opinion, and it's like um, a big clubhouse, where people are just they don't have to put the facts on the table. They're just talking their minds, and people take it for fact, and that's not true. And
Mm-hmm.
that has a lot to do with why the franchise is at the state that it's in right now. It's just yeah, it's a shadow of its former self. Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Do
still
you think it could
going.
be
People still
revived?
love it, but there's too much.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Do you think it can be revived?
Yeah, absolutely. But you'd have to do that. And the problem now is that there's so much apathy going on. There's so much apathy going
Mm-hmm.
on. People don't care any longer. And I noticed that with myself. I reviewed the Acolyte back then. I made a series out of that. I barely could catch up. Like right now with 1923, it's really hard for me because it also I happen not to like the series, and it just got bad. And it's the same with Acolyte. You watch and it's such an insult to you as a fan if you know so many things, and you're accustomed to people being professionals and knowing about the lore and knowing about what's going on, the rules of the story and the franchise, and they're just shitting all over that. Excuse my
Mm-hmm.
French. And yeah, in a nutshell, it's not looking good.
We
But it can be revived. It absolutely can be revived. But I would say more in fan projects. The fans actually get
okay.
it. That's what I think.
W- would you watch it if it's like an anime styled
That's the thing.
show?
I'm not into anime, like the art. I get that it's just personal preference. I don't have anything really against it. I think that there's still a lot of people who get it and who can also make really good Star Wars stories. I think the last thing that really moved me that I watched was it Tales of the Jedi, which was animated,
Mm-hmm.
and parts of the Ahsoka series. But really, like,
Hmm.
it's not that hard. If you publish something, if you're gonna make a series, a movie which really channels that old spirit of the franchise, you're definitely gonna be able to win over the fans. It can be
Hmm.
done. I'm absolutely convinced of that. But for that, there's got to be some heart in it. There's got to be some an olive branch out to the fans
Yeah.
for a story. For yeah, that's what it's gonna that's what it's gonna take. Yeah.
Wow.
I know it's a lot to
Wow.
digest, but if you're up for that, let's go for see the first one, which is the fourth.
Hmm.
And I guess when you go further down the franchise, you'll know exactly what I mean.
I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm
that would be
down. Let's do
great.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we got to do like the presidents did on YouTube. We got to do a tier list. We got to do a tier list and why. That's going to be fun. I know it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I'm down.
So, yeah, and also Revenge of the Sith got re-released in theaters, and you know what? It's doing really good.
Yeah, it's about 25 million right now.
Yeah,
I'm lying. It pulled 42 million worldwide on its
40.
opening
Wow.
weekend.
I
That's a
actually thought that 20 million that was it, and it was already
no,
impressive
no,
for
it's
20
42 million. Yeah,
42
worldwide on
million.
its opening week. That's a huge. That's huge for a re-release.
Yeah, for re-release, a
Hmm.
movie that you can watch at home on a
Yeah.
streaming. If you got Disney Plus, you can just watch it in 4K. If you got a big screen at home, big silver screen projector, it's no problem.
Hmm.
Looks awesome on there.
Hmm.
If you also got a
Yeah.
sound system, it's like you're watching it in a theater. And I don't think
Hmm.
it was released in IMAX or something, because I would get that
Hmm.
you just want to
Hmm.
watch it on the big screen, on the big IMAX screen. But I haven't seen it anywhere on IMAX. So I guess uh
Hmm.
I guess it's just people loving that one that much.
Yeah.
That says a
That's
lot.
incredible. It really shows
Yes.
how much love there still is for the prequels.
Yeah,
You know, it
they are loved.
really.
They have their flaws,
Hmm.
definitely, but there's heart in it. George Lucas put his heart in those, and you notice
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That must have been wild.
to watch it in 2025 there in
Yeah.
2005, yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
wild. I had a costume and everything. Still have
Really?
got
How
this
cool is that?
plastic, this collapsible lightsaber banged up because we of course we would smash those together. We didn't have those super fancy ones back then. And
Hmm.
I had a costume. I was dressed up as Anakin, had long hair, and I got a picture together with a guy in a Chewbacca suit.
Oh, you gotta send that to me.
I will. I will. Yeah, it's awesome. It was an awesome time. People were so hyped up. I guess that was really it was the pinnacle back then. It was just
Mhm.
the peak of fandom. People were loving it. They I guess they were a little bit disappointed with the first two prequels, but the third one they were loving it because it was the Clone Wars that everyone was talking about
Mhm.
during the original trilogy, and we finally got to see the Clone Wars, the actual stormtroopers being badass for once, not missing their target, being on point against the droids, just huge epic battles, and of
Wow.
course the birth of Darth Vader. Yeah, epic, epic.
Wow. Yeah, they don't nowadays they don't really make movies like that anymore, let alone, prequels and and
Yeah,
and um,
and I don't know why.
franchises like that. Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But you know what? The John Wick
Yeah.
series might get a new chapter.
Oh, yeah. Now switching gears to John Wick. There's a lot happening there too, huh?
Yeah.
Like Keanu
Have you seen
Reeves
those?
is returning for
Yeah.
John Wick Chapter 5, which is, it's exciting news considering how the last film ended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm, mm. And that's not all. Like there's an animated prequel in the works that will
Yeah.
delve into Wick's infamous impossible task, the one
Yeah.
that allowed him to retire before the first movie.
Mhm.
Plus, Donnie Yen is set to start in a spin-off focusing on his character Gain. He's not just starring, but also directing, which should bring a fresh perspective to the franchise, I think.
Did he do directorial work before that one?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so we're up for a surprise then. Well,
No, I don't believe so.
well, he was really great. Did you see the fifth one or any of them?
Yeah, I did, but that was so long ago.
Yeah, I
That
was
was so
kind of
long ago.
disappointed with the fourth one, really.
Yeah,
I mean, it had the action scenes, but story-wise, like with the third one, and spoiler alert again, sorry guys. Like I thought
yeah.
that he was just gonna bring the whole house down with the fourth. It was the ending of the third. It was like, are you pissed? Are we gonna have their asses kicked? Are we gonna
Mm-hmm.
kick their asses? And he was like, yeah, with that Katarine voice, yeah. All beat up, blood dripping on the floor. It's just wrecked. It's like, yeah. And I was like, oh my god, now they're in for a kind of whoop ass. They're so gonna get
Yeah.
it. And then he was like, we could arrange for duel. It's like in a courtroom, you know what? How about we just pay that and then we're quits? I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Of course, it was still epic. Like they all had those fight scenes in there, and
Mm-hmm.
they cranked it up to 11. Yeah, but I just thought it was gonna be more epic
Yeah.
story
I wonder
wise.
how he feels about jumping back into all that action. Because he's getting older, you
It's the
know?
thing, but it's the same thing with Rambo. It's the same thing with Rambo.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said in the review, or in the movie news thing that I did, it's Rambo and John Wick. They both don't want to fight. They're always
Yeah.
forced to fight. They're super good fighters. They're on top of their game, but they don't want to fight. They're both
Yeah.
kind of they're both kind they're like really they're like plants. They're like those Japanese plants. They're very peaceful when they want to be peaceful. They want to just want to live their life. They want to be left
Mm-hmm.
alone, but then again, like something just drags them back in there, and you can only do that so many times. It's like
Mm-hmm.
with the fifth Rambo movie, for example. Like he
Mm-hmm.
he just gets dragged in there. When in the fourth one, it's kind of a perfect ending. Spoiler alert again. I don't know how many
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
but then like
Yeah.
people, that's a movie from 2008. He's like in the first one, he's just walking down the road with his old army clothes and his duffel bag, and he's looking for a new home. He's looking for somewhere to be himself again, to find his
Mm-hmm.
peace. And in the first one, of course, he ran into trouble. He got picked up by the sheriff, and he brought hell on him. And then at the end of the fourth one, he finally returns home, I guess, to his dad's ranch or his grandpa, I don't know, a name relative, and he's found this ranch, and he's smiling. He's got a little smirk, and he's walking towards the ranch, and it's kind of hinting towards a happy end for him. He finally finds his peace, and then in the fifth one, oh my God, his daughter is missing. Better go down to Mexico and just destroy the cartel. And yeah, sure, another carnage fest, but story wise, it really doesn't make that much sense. His
No.
character, he he just wants to find peace. And
Mm-hmm.
with a
Mm-hmm.
guy who's still vengeful, and if you don't put an end to that and just goes on to he's still on his revenge path, he's still on the war path. It makes sense that you would put another sequel out if you don't put an end to that.
Of
But if you put
course.
an end to that and then you're like, oh my god, we should do a sequel. Let's let's find
You
another
better be
honeypot.
damn good.
Yeah,
Yeah, you better be damn good when
yeah,
you
it's got to
want
be
to do
damn good.
another sequel. Yeah.
It's got to have a good reason why, a just cause,
Mm-hmm.
so he can
Mm-hmm.
can pick up the baton or the rifle
Mm-hmm.
or the pistol
Mm-hmm.
for John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be a good reason for that, and for the ending with
Mm-hmm.
the fourth one, it just doesn't look that way. So I'm really looking forward to their reason as to why to he should come back out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah, and
well, let's see.
yeah, it's interesting, sometimes. You have some really great movies, and it's just like the ending was just perfect. I don't think there should be a part two. And then when they decide to do it, a part two,
Mm.
it's so crappy, and it's just like y'all should have just left it at that first part of the movie.
Yeah,
But
with John Wick.
yeah,
Yeah, you didn't think the second part was any good?
no, not really. Not really. It's
Well,
been a
I
while, but I feel like it's like I'm gonna be honest with you. There were rumors going on.
mhm.
I'll be honest with you. For instance, when Bad Boy came out, and also when they were saying they wanted to do another Black and Man part two or part
Man in
three or
Black,
something
yeah.
like that. But yeah, when Bad Boy came out, everybody was excited. When the first part of Miami came out, it was all right. But low key, I was just like, y'all just should have left it. It was not really all that. I'll be honest with you. It's like almost saying like, oh, let's do a part two for Titanic. Like what? Like
The Revenge.
no, yes, like yeah, the revenge.
Yeah, now they're gonna kill every iceberg.
Yes,
I imagine that.
oh my God. Or
No,
imagine Jake, or what was his name? Jake,
Jack.
the couple, Jack, yeah. Now all of
Yeah,
a
Jack's
sudden,
coming back up.
they
Like,
find out he's actually alive. He was picked up by aliens, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And turns into a whole sci-fi movie. Like,
he's a
it's just
cyborg
so,
now. Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
that would be so great.
Man, that would be
Yeah,
insane. You know what I'm
and
saying?
the
It's
Titanic like is back up there, and it looks like something out of Mad Max.
oh man, you
with
incorporate it with
spears
the
on the
Matrix.
outside.
Yes. It's just certain. It's like music too. Certain
Yeah,
songs is just like it's not meant for you to replicate or do another
yeah,
song that somebody had done 20 years ago. Like, don't touch any Michael Jackson songs, please. Don't even try to
yeah.
sample it, okay? Like, don't ruin it because it's a classic. It's just,
It
and that's
is.
how I feel about Star Wars based on what I've learned, over the years and what people have said about it. I have never watched it, but it's just also hearing your perspective of it. It's just like, just leave it alone. Like, if you decide to do another part of it or even a prequel, whatever, like, make sure it's darn good. Like, make sure it's really
It
darn
is.
good and you impress others. It's like when Avatar came out, like when the second movie came out, I was just like, yeah,
You know
I
what?
don't know what they were thinking. It wasn't all that. So it's just certain classics. Leave them alone.
You know
The
what? I
ending was
get an
good enough.
idea.
Which
I
one?
get an idea of what they ordered John Wick to do as this impossible task. They were like, you know what? Write a Star Wars sequel. I was like, oh my god, I can't do that. Nobody's ever done that. I mean, George Lucas, can you imagine that? Not coming back. He's done with it. They sold it to Disney. Now you want me to write another one? Yeah. Yeah, John. That's what you gotta do. You want a happy life with a happy wife? Go write me a Star Wars sequel.
Oh my God, that would you see? I mean, that would probably be amazing. I'll be honest with
Yeah.
you. I think that's a great storyline. I think that's amazing. You
Yeah.
know? Oh man. Yeah, this in German we say Finger weg. Like, keep your hands off of a certain movie. Finger weg.
Yeah, Fingerlick.
Certain parts. Finger weg. Don't touch it. Leave it
Absolutely.
alone. Just leave it alone. It's like,
You know,
I'm so tired of Spider-Man. Like, they just the other day, great, I mean, it looked like the animation was great, but it's just like, y'all have too much money and too much time in your hand. I mean,
yeah.
when they did the cartoon version of Spider-Man, the animated version of Spider-Man, I was just like, I'm not even gonna watch it. Like,
Hmm.
Spider-Man, Batman, it's just, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's still going good with the fans, but the problem is that they're just pumping those out. It's like it's
Mm-hmm.
the same with the series. There's just oversaturation going on. There's so
Mm-hmm.
many shows, so many movies. Do
And
something good.
competition.
What's that?
I said, and competition going on a
Yeah,
lot.
of course. Of
A
course.
lot, because now you have a lot of indie filmmakers, that
Yeah.
literally are just, going on Tubi and posting their movies out, and
Yeah.
and You know, and with the streaming now, people also don't want to sit here and pay for 10 different prescription Amazon Prime, you know, and
Ah, it's
Hulu and
crazy.
like, a lot of or Netflix, it's just like there's a lot of competition out and there's a lot of originality missing nowadays too. That's why I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are really drawn more into series now
Yeah.
instead of going to the movie theater. That's one
Yeah.
thing. The experience is almost like it's missing because it's just like, like what are you guys actually producing? Like from our last podcast we talked about Snow White. Oh
Yeah.
man, that's the perfect example. You know,
But I totally get why they
my
did
little
it.
yeah, and think about it, my little sister is 12 years old, okay? And she said to me she
Right.
wanted to go to the movies. So I told her, this was after we did the second podcast. I said, okay,
Yeah.
what about Snow White? You want to watch Snow White? She looked at me. She said, oh, no, I don't want to watch Snow White. I'm like, why? She's like, she's seen all of the reviews on TikTok and people was talking about it. She's like, how I want to spend my money going over there. I looked at my
Right.
sister. I said, what? She's like,
Oh,
no, you know,
but
um,
that wasn't
I
their
just,
target. That wasn't their goal, you know?
it wasn't, it
Their
wasn't.
only goal, and I know that, the only goal was to keep the franchise to themselves, so it's not gonna go
Mm-hmm,
public domain.
mm-hmm,
They still
mm-hmm.
wanna,
But
if the little girls, they come around to Disneyland and they want
yeah,
their blanket, pillow, whatever, doll from Snow White, Disney wants to be the
mm-hmm.
only distributor of those. That's the
That
only
makes
reason.
sense.
The merch
Exactly.
still
The
makes the most
merch, the
money.
merch business, yeah,
Merchandising,
and
merchandising.
merchandise, yeah. Walt Disney right now is turning in his grave. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
he didn't want anybody to be touching that.
along with J.R. Tolkien. J.R.R.
Mm-hmm.
Tolkien. I guess it's got 2 R's in there. That's
Yeah.
sorry.
So
Sorry guys.
the moral of the story is, be very careful if you already have a good ending or something. Like
Yeah.
be careful if you want to do another part 3 or part 4 because it can actually ruin the franchise. It
It
can, I think.
absolutely can. Yeah.
It definitely can. I mean, I remember back in the days, people were so excited watching the Batman movies, and
Yeah.
going to the movie theaters and stuff like that. But you doing one bad one, like one bad one after you done the 4 amazing ones and one bad one, people are just gonna be like, nah, throw the whole franchise away. Like y'all just screwed it up
Yeah. Yeah. It's one
for
step
for
back, and
newcomers.
it's one step forward and 2 steps back with, if you
Mm-hmm.
got a failure movie. It's if your
Mm-hmm.
movie fails with the audience, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to come back from that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they need
Well,
to be a strategy behind that?
I think there's no. I think the stuff that's missing nowadays is that they just come up with original stories, like for example, Sinners, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
the budget is just overblown. It's just
Mm-hmm.
crazy what they throw out with CGI and all. And I know CG, it has its place and it's very helpful, but cut your movies down. Cut your movies down. Don't make a $100 movie, $100 million movie. Sorry, if you're not
Mm-hmm.
absolutely sure. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, don't make it into a huge spectacle. You can do so much with the actors. Most of the actors, they're just really great. You're just lacking a good director, a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you look at that, look. I watched what's it called? Your Recommendation. Also, totally cleaned up at the Academy Awards. What's it called? Like this Pretty Woman style story. I forgot the name of it. The movie.
Wait,
It's like the
was
stripper
it,
marrying the Russian mob son.
oh yes, 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 yes. That movie, what was it? Oh, y'all gotta watch that movie.
Yeah, well, let me look it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to. That was a very, I mean, that was a great movie. And that was actually an independent film, from my understanding. I think
Yeah, it's
I don't remember.
Honora.
Honora, wow, that one was amazing. Honora, I definitely suggest everybody to go watch it. Honora was an incredible movie. What really struck me about that movie was the dialogues. It was so natural, and the
Mm,
acting. It was
yeah,
amazing. The
it was
dialogues, it really made me feel like real time. Like this is actually how people talk
absolutely.
nowadays.
Well,
And it made me feel connected.
Absolutely. I watched it and all the while I was like, why did you recommend me that? Because it's not my style of movie. Not at all. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. So messy. But
Yes.
in the end I got it. With one of the goons. I don't remember his name, but one of the goons who pick her up at the end
Yes.
when they go out
Who
searching
cheated?
because the mob son of course bailed when shit got real.
Uh-huh.
One of the goons, I was like, that's the character. That him and her, those are the two main characters.
Yeah.
That
All
guy I can
along.
get
All along.
behind. He's
Yeah.
decent. I
Yeah.
was like,
That
that's what
was
you were
wild.
talking about.
The ending was amazing when
Yeah,
she
it
got
was
in the car.
amazing.
That was amazing. That was unexpected. I'll be honest with you. I did not expect that. Like that,
Not
like
at
to happen
all.
like that. Not at all.
Not at
I
all.
mean, that was a yeah. I know that was a definitely suggested for you guys to watch it. Definitely a great movie. I definitely gave it 9 stars for sure. But it was a great storyline. It was a great
It's
storyline.
different for sure. I wouldn't give it 9.
Hmm. I give it a 9.
All
I give
right.
it a 9. I love the drama. You know me. I love the drama in movies.
Yeah, that's for sure. The drama's in there. If you want to go see something with lots of drama in it, Nora is your movie.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
and a lot of booty shaking and strippers.
that is true. Yeah, you also get to see lots of that, lots of skin. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
lots of it.
that's also the thing. Like I think the nude scenes got in the latest movies. They were really cut down. Like you
Hmm.
barely see any nude scenes. Or is that
Hmm.
just me?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think there's really now more of a conservative movement going on,
Yeah.
especially in cinema as well. You could tell. Um, you know, um, I don't know how to feel about that. I think that growing up, I used to always see nude scenes, in
Yeah.
movies. It has a raw authenticity with it. You know what I'm saying? It really gets you
Mm,
drawn in. But I understand that nowadays with social media and so forth,
yeah.
I think they're just trying to clean up maybe a little bit more,
Mm,
and yeah, I think music videos are still the same. I think actually it slowed down
mhm.
a little bit with the explicit way of portraying a woman in music videos. No, I'm lying. I'm taking that back. There's a lot of ass shaking. There's a lot. I just think people are missing the touch and the feeling, so they
Yeah.
cannot portray it anymore in the movies. Like if you
Yeah.
watch Blue Is My Favorite Color, which is a French movie. I don't know if you ever seen it. It's a great
No.
movie. I mean, there's a whole lot of nakedness, boy, a lot of it. But with these two women, I tell you, boy, a whole lot of nakedness. But you watch it and you feel something. You feel the passion, you feel the
Yeah.
love. You feel it, and that's that touch. That's that magical touch. And it doesn't have to be during those intimate scenes.
Yeah.
Where it's about making love and so forth, but just overall intimacy. When it comes to these scenes in some movies nowadays, it lacks it. It really, it's like directors are out of touch almost with their actors.
True. Yeah.
So
Yeah, most of the time, like,
yeah,
yeah, I know you're a director yourself, and no offense there,
yeah,
but I think a lot of directors they're really not good, and the writers
no,
aren't either. But the actors,
you
they're
know,
still really good. Like I see a lot of
yeah,
good actors. Wow.
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of good actors, but you know what? I say that directors in the mainstream industry nowadays,
Mhm.
that's where I cannot really go behind 100%. That's where I agree with you. But the
Mhm.
truth is, there are a lot of independent filmmakers out
Yeah,
there and
absolutely.
directors that are incredible and that don't get the credit that they deserve, to be honest with you. And so,
True.
I always encourage people to support our independent filmmakers, as much as they can, because there's a lot of great movies out there that unfortunately do not get the spotlight that they
So,
should.
but they're on Tubi, right? A
Exactly.
lot of them are on Tubi.
Oh, some of them are on Tubi, some of them, excuse me. You have a lot of film festivals,
Yeah.
that give the spotlight to those filmmakers. You have the
Mhm.
Berlinale,
True.
and so
Yeah.
forth. Kane Festival is a little bit played out because all of those people with money and all of that goes in there, like
Yeah.
it's starting to
I think
become
people lost trust in that one.
mainstream. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's starting to become mainstream now as well. But there's a lot of great movies out there that I encourage people to look. I encourage also independent filmmakers, and the hard part about being an independent filmmaker is trying to make money of your movie,
Yeah.
and so if you want to get discovered, and you work really
Mhm.
hard for your film, okay, don't
Yeah.
focus on, you know, blockbuster. Yeah, it could be great, being a dream, but the thing nowadays is, believe it or not, a lot of filmmakers, and I encourage more of them to just post their stuff up on YouTube. Get
Definitely.
them views and get paid that way because you can.
Absolutely.
You can. And I'm telling you, I think eventually we heading into this era where filmmakers are going to use social media, such sites such as, YouTube, where they just gonna say, I'm gonna make a movie, I'm gonna post it on YouTube, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
get paid that way. Because Netflix is not picking me up or whatever. And eventually they're gonna get that spot, they're gonna get people gonna look
Absolutely.
at them, and Netflix gonna come and hit you up and say, hey, you know what, like, I like what you did, let's
Mhm.
work together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally backing that one.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I sent you that interview, JRE, Joe Rogan, this Joe
Oh
Rogan
yeah, I have
interview with
not had a chance to watch it.
Robert
I
Rodriguez.
gotta
Let me
watch
let
it.
me just give you
Hmm.
the outlines of that one. It's he
Please,
says
yeah.
exactly the same thing like you. He says, just go out there, just do it. And it was so inspirational. It's crazy. Like, you gotta check it out. And also, everybody, go check
Hmm.
out that. I know that right now Joe Rogan is a bit has a bit of a target on his back because of all the Trump
Wait, what
bashing that
happened? I
he did.
heard something about anti-Semitism and stuff like that. What?
Really, he has so many people on, and I get it that you know it shouldn't be taken as political advice. Let's just say that you should really
Yeah.
be a bit picky when it comes to the stuff that he says in his interviews and the stuff that he's saying. I don't think that everything should be taken literally and
Hmm.
100% like on the golden scale. I just think pick those things out that make sense. And I think that interview with Joe Rogan, and also like to put that like, but not about work, but more about family. The one with Jeremy Renner. He has also one with Jeremy
Hmm.
Renner after his accident where his snowplow crushed his entire body and he survived that.
Hmm.
He's
Wow.
back out of physical therapy, and he looks like nothing happened to him. But I guess like on the inside, if he had his shirt off, there would definitely be scars and all of that. Definitely
Hmm.
some gnarly stuff that he said there. What happened to him? But there's really about ethic, like work life ethic with his family, that he's putting his family first, and he's making as much time as possible so he can spend it
Hmm.
with his family, and also the interview with Robert Rodriguez about work, really, that you should just start it, go do it, just upload it. It's never been as easy as right now to just
Hmm.
upload your stuff and people to notice you. Of course, you got a lot of
Hmm.
competition, but just go do it and put your heart in it, put your blood, sweat, and tears in it, and then you should actually see some results. And of course, patience. That's the
Right.
same right now. Like as of right now, we don't have a lot of audience, but like if you go keep on doing it, keep on, it's at the end of the day, if you have a lot of audience, if you have none of the audience, you still have a good talk and you still put your stuff
Hmm.
out. And people are gonna notice it if you keep on going, if you trust yourself, if you trust the process, if you're just being grateful. And
Hmm.
I think he has many people on that actually give you that inspiration, and that just for that alone, he's a great source for all those interviews and inspiration.
Hmm.
Definitely go check that one out. All of you, not
Yeah,
you,
I
just you, Angel.
yeah,
But
I have
go
to
check
definitely
that out.
check
It's
that out.
awesome.
Yeah, that interview, you've been told me about it, and
Yeah,
it has all
the
over
Muse.
500,000 views right now. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's it for this live stream. Um, again, like thank you for joining me. And where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, director at, that's director
You gotta add that
ATZ at, yes. And yeah, Intimate Moments podcast on YouTube. We have not uploaded anything yet. We will be by beginning of the year, next year. And then, yeah, support, support, support.
Absolutely. Go
Thank you for
subscribe
tuning
already.
in.
I can vouch for her. It's gonna be epic. I know that. And I'm
Yeah,
also gonna be on
so,
there.
yep,
So
absolutely.
you can all look forward to that. And of course,
Exactly.
you can find me on YouTube and on Instagram at Cranky at the Movies. Yeah, that's for both. And I actually made it to change my name here, Movie Crank, because to Cranky, because I actually wanted to also cover different stuff. And I think
Mm-hmm.
Cranky, that's what I'm being all the time, not just about movies. I'm also sometimes happy, but a happy cranky, I don't know. Maybe in the future.
Yeah.
All right. So
It
thanks, Angel, and thank you for all our
was a
audience and
pleasure as
all the
always.
people. It was a pleasure. Bye.
Bye.